said you grew up here.
Great, yeah, I did. I'm actually a fourth generation New Havener, over from Italy in the original Schiavone family.
Nice.
Yeah, been here a long time. As I was saying before, it's a, it's a blessing to be here in New Haven, and love what I do here. Committed to the community.
Nice. Okay. So tell us about the organization before we get into the event.
Yeah, so I'm the executive director of the Friends Center for Children, which is an early childhood education center here in New Haven. We serve 103 families and their children, and we put together an annual event called the Fairhaven Family Stroll, really to highlight the need for high quality early childhood education in New Haven. We have a crisis in New Haven. Of every 10 children looking for infant toddler care, there's only 2 slots, and that's if you can afford it. And the cost of care is about $1,600 a month. So you can imagine who can afford that.
Right.
So we know that we need to bring attention to this issue, and we host this event. We're in our 9th annual event, and it's an opportunity for families to come out and have some fun and get access to free resources, such as the health lab, the dental lab, the fire department is there. There's things like Junta, there's housing authority comes out, a whole bunch of different organizations that can give access to families that they normally wouldn't have it. And then we do fun stuff for the kids, so the kids can come out and hear music. We have a drum line from the Southern Connecticut State University comes out.
Nice.
We have a girls dance troupe that comes out called Swag. They
Okay.
come out and do their thing. So we really, we had about 1,000 people out last year. It's $10 a family as a suggested donation, but we let anybody in regardless of the $10 or not. So we welcome people to come on out.
Nice.
Juan Castillo here.
Yeah, hi.
So tell me, what can we do in terms of getting more of the type of services that young kids need today, especially around care?
Yeah. Well, the first thing we can do is we need to value it. So we, as a society, don't value it. If you look at the way we pay our teachers, if you look at what we expect of our working families to
Right.
be able to come up with this, we don't create access for people. And we know that access is actually divided along racial lines, too. So when you have black and brown families who don't have access in their communities to high-quality care, that's a huge barrier right there. So you're asking them to travel and go somewhere else, find transportation, find the dollars, which they just doesn't exist, and there's no slots. So one of the things we can do is we can advocate, and this is one of the things that we do through this. We have the mayor coming, we have Rosa DeLauro coming, we have the commissioner for early childhood education coming from the state, and we just try to keep it front and center.
Okay.
Because what I find is,
Yeah.
is that with early childhood care, you've got a lot of folks who get into it to make money, right? And of course, the government, whether it's the city or the state, goes and makes sure that those folks are qualified to do it, right? But the fact that it's so high is because it is a for-profit venture, right?
Interesting.
And so, like, could the answer also be if more nonprofit organizations get into something like this?
So am I hearing you ask about things like kinder care or those
Yes.
larger programs? Yeah.
Exactly.
So the local programs in New Haven tend to be the nonprofits, programs like ours, and
Right.
they really operate under really a social justice lens, really trying to create opportunity and access
Yes.
with education as the basis. But I do think there is a rub when you have places that are out there really looking to make a profit as opposed to really doing what's best for the child and the family. I think one of the reasons why the cost of care is high is that it's hard, right? I mean, so we have a high cost of care just if you're I'm a nonprofit, and our cost of care is about $22,000 for an infant toddler spot,
Wow.
right? So we don't charge that. We're a sliding scale, so families pay based on their income. But in order to do that, we have to get subsidies, we have to write grants, we have to go out, so we don't get enough from the state or the local municipality to actually cover the cost of care.
Right. And I'm not sure if the budget really addresses that issue,
It does not.
right? Both on the city and the state level,
Correct,
right?
it does not. And it's a values base. I mean, if you look at what we spend on our young children, and I make this joke and say anyone who was a child, has a child, or is a grandparent should care about this issue,
Yeah.
which is all of us, right? But you don't see that in terms of the value and the energy that we place around it.
Yeah, you could look at just how some high schools really look out, let's say, for your sports teams, right?
Yeah.
And then you know the arts are sort of
That's-
down here,
oh,
right?
right.
You know, same kind of issue with this.
Yeah, and even more just really disturbing when you look at the impact that early childhood education has
Yeah.
on a person's future, both from an educational perspective, but also from an emotional perspective. So children that we neglect, children that are traumatized, children that are raised in poverty, and when we look at trauma and we think just about racial or ethnic trauma that children are facing now, if we're not counterbalancing that and working to create this foundation, it's actually proven that children are moving into things like drugs and alcohol and teen pregnancies and health issues and later in life for women and men. And so we have this clear connection. We talk about school to prison pipeline, just take that as one. It starts in preschool.
So-
And the other piece is also when folks can't afford childcare, right? So what happens is that you know one of the parents has got to stay home.
That's right, and they can't
right?
work.
And so now you know the economic stability of that family now
Absolutely.
is changed.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so that also, and that deals with the poverty issue and all of that.
Absolutely.
you
And
know?
then you have women, because the majority of people who provide this care are women, and they are unable to make a living wage. So we're basically paying women to stay in poverty.
Yes. It's
It's-
a whole
That's deep.
trickle-down effect.
It's
Yeah.
really disturbing.
But when you're talking about trying to cover the cost, that's why you do events like this.
That's right.
That's why it's a donation, but it would be most helpful to provide that $10 donation, or if
Absolutely.
not more.
Yep.
Do you have any other events similar to this, or any other events that the organization does?
Well, we have a lot, but this is the main one that we do that's really as large as I referenced and really is focused on this. But we have a lot of smaller events where we do workshops for parents around things like toxic stress or brain development and sort of what does it mean to, we had a drummer come in from New Haven, but originally from Africa, who did drumming with the families. We had the New Haven Symphony Orchestra come and have a symphony for the families to understand what's happening for children in brain development. So there's little things like that, but this is really our big event.
And this big event is happening this Saturday?
It is, yes,
Okay.
and it's from 10 to 2. 10 is the stroll part, so we do a stroll, and it's a stroll because there's no way I'm running. So,
Nice stroll.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I like that one.
Yeah, you could come and stroll.
I like
You
that.
could-
I like
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
And you have a rain date set aside for May 18th.
That's right.
Hopefully we won't get rain though.
No,
I'm tired of rain.
it's our 9th year. Knock on wood, no rain. So,
10 to
thank
2,
you.
Quinnipiac River Park, 2 East Grand Avenue. If they missed anything, do you have a website or anything they can log on to?
Yeah, friendcenterforchildren.org, and then there's a link there to the family stroll. Please come on down and help us celebrate and advocate.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
And donations are helpful.
Always.
Okay.
Always.
This is Alex Schiavone, Executive Director for Friends Center for Children in Elm City, Montessori. Fairhaven Family Stroll and Festival, Saturday. Bring the babies, bring the kids. Nice
That's right.
family event.
Yep.
We thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You know, nice. Going back inside the community another day, tomorrow. You don't want to miss this. It's going to be I Matter tomorrow inside
Yes.
the community. So make sure you stick around for that. More still to come. It's the Juan Castillo Morning Show.